Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Magic Mics, proudly sponsored by our Patreon supporters and CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day, and our co-sponsor CardHoarder.com, offering the best inventory prices and delivery of cards for Magic Online. I am Evan Irwin, and we get started each week by saying hello to my two co-hosts, Aaron Campbell.
Hello, everybody.
Ruben Bressler.
Shalom. I hope everybody is staying safe and has a good new year thus far.
And staying perky.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stay perky.
It's a good thing that deadly disease got even more contagious. All right.
Well, when you have the combination Taco Bell and Pizza Hut of spreader event plus insurrection, it's tough to,
Yeah.
It's a bit much.
We kick it off here with our first pick and giveaway. Get your chance at a $50 gift certificate to CoolStuffInc.com by typing !raffle in the chat. But subscribe first to get 2 chances to win, not just 1, but 2. And don't forget our raid at the end of the show to support a member of the community, and your suggestions at the end of the show to see who we raid tonight. As we move on here to the first pick, which is, of course, Kaldheim. We bumped the show a day because of unbelievable stuff that we're not going to bother with. This is a magic show because the world. But what we did get to do was we get to bump it, so we got to see the Kaldheim show today. Did you guys get to watch the live stream this morning?
I didn't, but I did keep up with the tweets as it was happening.
That is what I did as well. Yeah.
It was super cool. Jimmy Wong plus metal band trying
metal
to
band.
metal band.
Yeah.
We're in that.
I like
kind
the
of,
attempt. I like the attempt.
It was very sort of Nickelodeon-esque in that way,
Sure.
in that it's
it's
over the top and kind of ridiculous.
Like Kelly Clarkson rock.
Like everybody's in on it. You know
Like
what I
a
mean?
Disney Channel original movies version of a metal concert.
Something like that,
good, yeah.
kind of. Well, they did get to talk about Kaldheim cards, a lot of Kaldheim stuff. One of the first things they mentioned was the mechanics, which I'll bring up the article here on screen. They finally got to reveal the mechanics of the set. Foretell is the first one, is the major one, they said.
I like this.
Foretell is dope.
Foretell's cool.
Yeah, even though it's difficult to read on the screen. Basically, Foretell has a mana cost of some sort, and during your turn, you may pay 2 generic mana and exile this card from your hand face down, cast it on a later turn for its Foretell cost. So you cannot foretell and then cast it immediately. You have to wait on an extra turn, but having instants and sorceries with Foretell means it's kind of like, it almost feels like they developed this like sort of trap system for Zendikar and then realized, hey, wait a minute, why don't we just do it over here in Kaldheim and have a whole mechanic around it.
Kind of reminds me
pretty
of
dope.
Morph for spells.
It's a spell morph,
I like that it also kind of prevents you, not that we've really seen discard lately, but like if somebody tries to like discard the card, well, it's not in your hand anymore, and so that's really cool. And
if it's central to your game plan and it's a really expensive spell, paying 2 mana on turn 2 and setting it aside, especially in something like a control deck so that it can't get thought erasured or duressed or something along those lines, that's a huge deal.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of like Adventure, it's kind of like Morph, it's kind of like Suspend. It's a really cool combination of all those things, and the way that they've put it onto, like, I always look at the commons that have the abilities, and you've got this Phantom monster that has Foretell. You've got like draw a couple cards and scry. You got scry 2, draw 2, Foretell. Like those look super solid. I really like this ability a lot, and I hope they reprint Rift Sweeper. Because Rift Sweeper that like shuffle, I think it's like it's a 2/2 for 2 that shuffles in an exiled card into its owner's library.
Right. Which would
would be
kind of
super fun.
hilarious.
It would be pretty hilarious.
Yeah,
Pretty
there were also a
hilarious.
couple cards that were leaked, which we're not going to go into detail about, but if you've been keeping up with the leaks, there are also a couple more nice Foretell cards out there that are like,
yeah, Foretell, as I understand,
get
is on a
into
whole
next
bunch
week.
of cards, so we'll have a whole bunch of time.
Oh,
to talk
Rift
about
Sweeper only hits face-up cards? Dang it.
Oh, no. And it is important that the cards are face down because you kind of have that sort of, what is it? What do you have foretold there? And the most popular foretold cards will have sort of that gameplay of, well, it's definitely X or Y or Z, but ideally you have a couple different options to make it really interesting and not just the same gameplay. This is the best foretell, obviously, yada, yada, yada.
Interesting. I just noticed that you may exile it face down, so they don't know what you've... Oh, wow.
Exactly. So there's a lot of like, you got my trap card, you activated it because I did the thing and paid some mana and got you. The most
Are you
standard...
able to look at it at any time? Do we know?
If it's your face down card, you're allowed to look at it at any time.
Cool.
Yes.
Sort of like Hideaway. Like you would always peek under your Shelldock aisle.
Right.
Just to see what it was.
Right, it'll be a totally different zone, kind of like an adventure in on Arena, except this one won't be shown to your opponent. So that'll be really sweet. And what is foretold and what is not is going to be really cool. So yeah, and moving on to that, past that they now have Boast. I'll bring this on screen.
Yeah.
Interesting ability, not going to lie.
This demon is cool.
I'm not going to lie, I low-key kind of hate the name. I really don't like
Boast. Is a weird name for the ability, yeah.
I just, it feels weird to me. I don't like
I don't know
but
what they could have gone with instead, but
I'm not sure, but I just don't like this one. But Boast is an ability that you can activate only if the creature attacked this turn and only once each turn. But for this guy, Varagoth Bloodsky Sire, it's a 3-mana 2/3. So for a black and 2 generic mana, it's a 2/3 legendary demon rogue with Death Touch, and it has Boast of a black and a generic mana. Target player searches their library for a card, then shuffles their library and puts that card on top of it. So note, it is targeted. Any player can go get it. You're able to go get your own stuff and essentially have a vampiric tutor that attacks every turn. It's got Death Touch, nobody wants to block it. And if they do, okay, they're trading for it. And if they do, you can still get the Boast trigger out of it.
Yeah, I think this leads to some interesting moves in Commander as well. You know, the political aspect of how many times have you played Commander and somebody's like, "Can you just hit me? Like, I got to get this Sword of the Animus trigger. I've got to get whatever." And you're like, "Okay, fine. I'll take your one damage."
I don't have a Wrath in my deck, but you do.
Right, you're like, who's got the counterspell for whatever that's going to resolve or something.
Yeah, I mean, rogues are very popular right now. We had the pre-con constructed deck. We have rogues in standard right now.
God, it's a rogue.
I love the art here. Somebody on Twitter mentioned that this appears to be a cloak made out of skin. Which is incredibly badass. I think that's cool.
That's very badass. Yes.
And I will say that Boast is a very Viking thing, but not for rogues. Like, rogues are sneaky. Like, they don't really. I mean, this is like a bardic kind of thing. I would have thought that this would be more of like a Skald, Skald.
Or this is on like a berserker,
demons,
right?
though.
A demon berserker.
I've never seen. I mean, I can't think of any demons in pop culture that have been quiet. Like, normally demons give you that speech. They're like, I will destroy you, or I will do this. Like, I can see it.
Fair enough.
But you're right. Demon Rogue is a weird. Like, if it was just a demon and it boasted, I might not think anything of it. But you're right. Demon Rogue is a little odd.
Right. Anyway, we want the subtype. Like, it's good to have that there, and it's interesting. But what the Rogue deck is doing and what this card is doing doesn't make a lot of sense together, in my opinion.
Right, because the Rogue.
I do like that when you attack with this and then you pay for the cost. You can be like, be sure to like and subscribe to pay your Boast cost.
Oh, geez.
Wow. We're going to keep moving here on the mechanics. The modal double face cards are back, not just the lands. And we've talked about a little bit of this before from Halvar, God of Battle. But then again, they actually showed us, what the new pathways look like, which is cool. Returning mechanics is snow. We got Snowlands back, y'all.
Boy.
Basic Snowlands, snow duels.
Is there any reason to even play non-snow basic lands at this point? Like,
No.
I can't think
I
of a
don't
reason.
think so.
Like, Wizards, look.
Which is why I was confused that I thought that they were going to make a new cycle of
Oh god, those
snow
are beautiful.
lands that came into play untapped and produced 1 mana,
Right.
but weren't basics. Like that, like being able to Terramorphic Expanse, being unable to target them with Wasteland, like being able to or you could also write, you can have any number in your deck or whatever. Like, that was really what was weird to me.
Wizards, I've spoken to many Wizards employees, especially the designers, over the years, for a very long time, at this point. Old man magic, right? So I can tell you that there was definitely something in the sort of ethos of Magic design. And one of the things that was in there was you never make a card that's better than a basic land. And they did. Snowlands are just better in every way. And unless they do some weird hate card in this set, which I don't expect, because Wizards want you to play with your lands and play with your spells and all this other stuff.
I mean, you say that, but whenever there's a set with graveyard shenanigans, they follow it up with a whole bunch of stuff so that you can't play with your toys. Like,
and we'll see, right? And maybe there is. Maybe there's some crazy hate for snow, but like now, I'm not seeing it, and it looks pretty dope. We'll talk about sagas here in a second, but I gotta feature Frostbite. Frostbite is 1 red mana for a common snow instant that deals 2 damage to a creature or planeswalker, and if you control 3 or more snow permanents, it deals 3 damage instead. This is going to be like Pauper All-Star.
This card is hilarious. Anyone else seeing Idris Elba in this art right
Yep.
here? I love the art. The flavor text is great. It's a bit nippy out there as he's being, nibbled on or, whatever. I had to do a double take just because I was like, is this lightning bolt? And I was like, oh, creature or okay,
Yes.
you can't dome somebody.
There was a,
Thank
there was
God.
a, I think that it was like, what was it? Wild Slash.
Yes.
I think was like, it deals 2 unless you like have a certain thing that's happening and then it
Yeah.
deals more.
Right. And Wild Slash is like just Rand Pioneers, one of the best removal spells. If this thing could hit players, it would be unbelievably expensive.
Oh, good heavens.
Lightning bolts number X through Y. You would never play anything but snow basics in your life. So that is appreciated.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
But this card is still insane. I mean, Ice Fang Coatl shows us that getting to 3 snow permanents is not difficult.
Right.
This is going to be and of course they gave us this borderless frame, which is going to be a promo version of some kind, which means that they know that it's going to be good as well.
Right. So sagas are coming back. Multicolor sagas for the first time are going to showcase here in Kaldheim, and I am here for it. I love it. This is like basically I feel like we've come around to this sort of thinking that sagas are the fixed planeswalkers. You can make them good, you can make them powerful, but if you screwed up and one saga happens to be better than the other, well, there's plenty of enchantment hate. It only happens once, and you don't have these repetitive game states like Jace the Mind Sculptor or whatever, where you can just lock them out of doing anything for the rest of the game. No, you're going to get your cool triggers, some 3, maybe 4, and that's it, and then you're done.
And not only that, you can print 20 of them that we have.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're all going to be enemy color, it looks like. The ones we've seen so far, it looks like, there are uncommons and there are rares. So there might be 2 full cycles of enemy sagas, which is a ton, and I love it. And there's a ton of design space there. I just love the art on sagas as well. Like I look at a Magic card and I'm like, I love the art, but you see the hot dog as opposed to hamburger is how I refer to it when I was in kindergarten. But you see the long art, and it lets the artists do something new and exciting and different, using different mediums, using different scaling, different art comes out of it when you give them this showcase saga kind of piece.
Yeah, speaking of different mediums, the saga for Binding the Old Gods was done by Victor Adame Mingas. He carved that out of wood. Like there are pictures of him on Twitter showing this thing off, and it's not small. Like this is an endeavor. And so, like you said, I remember seeing, I think it was one of the Dominaria ones where it was like a tapestry that you could actually buy. Like that was a thing. And so, not only is it a new medium for us to enjoy, it's also a new medium for artists to branch out in, and also new opportunities for them to make money. We've talked about how, art is more popular nowadays and everybody's auctioning it. And so, if Victor decides to sell that wooden one, I don't know if he said he's going to or not, but that would fetch a pretty penny.
Absolutely. So, moving on past sagas, we have changelings. Yes, thank God they learned their lesson from Ixalan. We're going to have changelings back in standard. They've already shown us a changeling, which was like better than almost all the other changelings we've ever had. So get ready for that. But the idea that you have something with all the creature types, it triggers your giants, your elves, your dwarves, whatever it is you got going on. That is just so incredibly important. And so if changelings are a part of every tribal set, whatever block thing to come in the future, I'll take it. I love them. They're great.
So they did something interesting here, which is in Lorwyn, they gave us changeling in every color. It was like a full everything gets changeling.
I think
then in Ixalan, we got no changelings.
Right.
Which was a little bit. Then they tried to turn the wheel a little bit with party, right? They tried to do a little bit more. This counts as 4 different types.
Right.
On like 5 cards.
Right.
Now we got changeling back as changeling, but it's only in blue-green. So your Angels deck in black-white can't benefit from it, right? There are certain things that aren't going to be able. The Dwarfs deck isn't going to be able to benefit from it. White-red. They're all blue and green. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out in the draft environment, especially.
But that green one, that Masked Vandal they premiered today is oof. 2 mana for a 1/3. Enters the it's not a league, is it? No, it's unscribable.
It's
okay,
official.
Don't scare me. I just heard the uh-oh, and I was like, oh no. But I mean, a 1/3 ETB, exile a creature card from your graveyard. Okay, fine. If you do, exile an artifact or enchantment an opponent controls. And this isn't like an O-ring thing where like if you destroy this, oh no.
It's gone.
It's gone.
Wow.
What
Get
in
that
the
boy
hell
outta
is
here.
this doing in green? What is this doing? Why is this not
Somebody
a white
asked
card?
it on Twitter.
It's
yeah,
naturalized.
Did you see that got a? Did you see that thread that got a little bit of a? There was Ari, or was it
Ari Lax?
Ari? No, Ari
Nia,
May.
Ari
yeah.
La- yeah,
Oh,
Ari
Nia.
Nia.
He's like the
guy.
self-proclaimed like white color pie guy.
Yeah, he's the white color pie guy.
And I remember like people on Twitter were trying to like talk about the white color pie. You know, there was a bit of a kerfuffle about that because it seemed like some people felt like he was dismissing their opinions on white.
Yeah,
or like he might have
yeah.
implied that like they weren't cut out to talk about the color pie. Like that was a whole thing in certain circles.
Well, this was one of those like, and Ari, I believe, is a recent member to R&D, and he was like been put in charge of white or whatever. And there was just like this sort of point in time where he was like, "I am the color pie master, and you know nothing of the white cards and the white abilities, and just get out of here." Like, if in case someone knows him and happens to let him know, it comes off a little arrogant, all right, and it's not super great.
Well, we know what the Ari stands for. Arrogant.
Oh. So
Give me a B, at least a B.
Okay, B minus. All right.
I think that Masked Vandal is fine in the color pie, especially since it has Changeling. You can't give it to white. If this were a dwarf, then you could give it to white, or if this were something else.
Destroy. I
Come
might
on,
buy that
Evan,
it's green.
get out
But
of
why
here.
is green exiling?
Right. Exiling feels very Banishing Light, very Oblivion Ringish. Like this feels like a white card that somehow green got because green gets whatever, and why not? Because it's green.
Green is like that one sibling. I'm an only child, so I don't know, but maybe you two can back me up. But you know how there's that one sibling. You guys have a sibling that gets everything, right?
Yes, we have a sibling.
I mean,
I do have siblings. Yes.
are you calling me out because I get everything? Or...
Oh, are you the sibling that gets everything?
I don't know. I don't think that Marika and I really had that so much.
That's fair. Somebody in chat, help me out here. You know what it's like.
Right.
I, an only child, making a sibling joke.
It's true.
I don't know about this one.
Let's face
Or just any family member. Maybe you have like a pesky cousin.
Sure.
Or maybe
It gets everything? Absolutely.
it's fine.
Pesky cousin, huh? What kind of website are we on right now?
No. Pesky cousin is a spoiler that's
Right.
coming out
Pesky
later.
cousin, what are you doing?
It's got Changeling and it exiles something.
What is happening? All right. So we move on from the mechanics. They talk about some of the product overview. Now, let me tell you, Wizards is all in on set boosters. And by that I mean it's going to be a little difficult to find draft boosters after a while. If Wizards keeps going this direction, it's going to be difficult to find draft boosters, and set boosters are going to be freaking everywhere because that's, it provides a more interesting experience. Well, someone would describe a better sort of lottery type experience. You can get up to 3 mythics and up to 4 rares in one of these things, which is cool. Yeah. And no doubt about it, they have cards that are on the list, which is really neat. That's another chance to get something really sweet. And
Remind me again what that is, the list?
The list is 300 old cards. Some of them very expensive, some of them not. I think the most expensive one right now is Food Chain.
Mostly cards that need reprints that they aren't going to put into a regular kind of set.
So they just announced Cavern of Souls is being added to the list this time.
Oh my god.
So there is
a distraction. I just realized Jenna Helland is back. Remember Jenna Helland?
Yeah.
Girl. I will never. So Jenna Helland's one of the creative folks. One of my fondest memories of her is, do you remember during the Pro Tour when they used to do these videos where they would interview, you know where I'm going, where they interview
you finish your thing.
So Jenna Helland, she's like one of these creative types, and I'll never forget, they used to do these videos where they would interview people like Kelly Diggs and Kimberly Cranes, I think it was, and they would talk about the lore of the story. And I always remember Jenna because she would get so excited about the most like morbid things. She'd be like, so we're going to be on Innistrad and there's like skeletons with their flesh being flayed. And I was like, why are you so excited about this, you weirdo?
Ruben, please tell us what cracks you up so heartily.
The thing that cracks me up is that Evan's like talking about a thing, and then Aaron's just like, "No, we're talking about whatever I just found on Twitter."
Just
just
YouTube will be mad at me. It's fine.
It's all good.
It's fine.
It's great.
All I'm saying is, yes, there's a normal sort of product overview. They have normal stuff in sets these days, but that the big change here that I noticed, essentially sort of from the back end side of things, from the distributor side and selling a bunch of boxes and stuff, is that Wizards is like, here is all the set boosters you could ever want, and we might give you a little bit of draft booster. And we're like, you realize it was literally the opposite last set, and then before that there wasn't a set booster. So like, totally changing gears is a hell of a thing. That's all I'm saying.
So it's interesting. So I I don't have these numbers, but I'm sure they do, that the number of boxes that are opened, if you only had booster boxes like we did a year ago at this time, how many of those were just cracked open and how many of those were used for booster draft?
Well, they gave out a number. They said half of them were just being opened to be opened.
Right.
And they said...
So why aren't we just doing half and half is my question.
Well, that'd be a good question, Wizards. But I don't make those decisions. I'm just letting you know they exist. So one of the things that Wizards had announced alongside Kaldheim was MTG Arena Mobile Android Early Access. Started on January 28th. Now, you have to have a very specific type of phone. Sure. They literally go into the chipsets. For gods. Do you have an Exynos 9810? You're good to go. I don't know what that means either. But I don't know what that means. It also means they did not make the 2020 deadline to be on mobile, which also means that our wondrous viewers happen to take a pie bet with me. I would have taken a pie to the face. Just pow, shown it to you guys, post it on the internet. You can go see it however much you want. But no. They didn't make 2020. Right. So some people lost a pie bet.
Now, we've already seen one.
Yes. We've already seen one.
We have another.
We do. Yeah, so let me fix this up real fast here. My guess is because it's a YouTube video, they'll try to show me an ad or something. But
can we just talk about like when we think about like our legacy, our impact on the community, we make people put pies in their faces. Like that's
pie bet.
Big.
That's what we
pie
do
bet's
here.
a big thing for us.
Well, here comes Pharmacist Judge.
Hey, Magic Mics. In 2020, I made a pie bet with Evan, saying that Magic Arena would come to mobile in this year.
I don't hear anything. Can you turn
and
this
it's
on?
20.
Oh, you guys don't hear anything?
No.
Hear it.
I don't hear anything.
Oh, Ruben hears it, but
on
Aaron?
the podcast, I hear it. Like on the Twitch VOD, I hear it, but not in our chat.
Okay, well that's who needs to hear it. So let's keep them.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
2021, and it's
30
not
seconds
here.
long.
So, as much as faith as I had in the Magic Arena team with human drafts being implemented so quickly, I lost the pie bet. So, here's a pie.
I love the humidifier.
Yep. The whole oh dear. Oh, he just did it at his desk.
Wow.
Oh, and the glasses are too good.
Oh, so good.
Jeez,
wow.
Thank you.
Wow, Pharmacist Judge coming through.
Excellent. That was excellent physical comedy.
Yes.
That was really good comedy. I like that.
That was good. I enjoyed that one. All right, so we have to keep moving on here. Kaldheim was dope. Is there anything else Kaldheim you guys would like to touch on before we move forward?
We're not going to talk about Tybalt?
Yeah, I was going to say 7-mana Tybalt and 2-mana Loki or whatever it is interesting, especially the ruling with Cascade, where if you Cascade, if you like Shardless Agent into a double face card, you can cast either side. So you can Shardless Agent into Tybalt. Yeah, it's gross.
Great.
Goodness. Well,
now they'll just play Sultai Delver in Legacy again.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
No, that was really, for me at least in the circles that I run in and I follow on Twitter, this was the big reveal. Like this is what got everybody talking. The fact that, Tybalt is essentially pretending to be a god, and how that also plays into storylines, Nordic Norse storylines where, it's not uncommon for gods to pretend to be everyday people. And, this is probably the most excited I've seen people be by Tybalt.
Sure.
And so it's pretty clear that he seems to be the villain of this set, if you will. And I look forward to seeing what they do with him.
So let's go through this. This is quite a bit. This is a legendary creature god on one side and a planeswalker on the other. So there's a lot. First of all, Valki, God of Lies, is obviously our Loki. It's a black and generic mana for a 2/1 mythic legendary god. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent reveals their hand. This is each opponent. For each opponent, exile a creature card they revealed this way until it leaves the battlefield. X generic mana : choose a creature card exiled with Valki with converted mana cost X. Valki becomes a copy of that card. That's
so it's like a kite sail freebooter hostage taker
all in
thing.
One.
Yeah.
With scariness.
Cool.
Well, you can also decide to play the other side if you'd like, which is a 7-mana Tybalt Cosmic Imposter. A black, a red, 5 generic mana for a 5 loyalty planeswalker. It says, as it enters the battlefield, you get an emblem with, quote, you may play cards exiled with Tybalt Cosmic Imposter, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells. For +2, you exile the top card of each player's library. Again, that's each. -3, you exile target artifact or creature. Yawn, whatever. For -8, this is cool. For -8, you exile...
Protects itself. What are you talking about?
It's fine. It exiles all cards from all graveyards, and you add 3 red mana to your mana pool.
Yikes.
Yeah, you can cast them with those. So
Yeah.
So you can. There's a couple interesting rulings here. Legendary creature on one side means it can be your commander, which means you can cast either side as your commander.
Nice.
Both sides share a collective commander tax, though.
Okay.
And so when Tybalt dies, it goes back to your command zone as your commander, which is cool. The Cascade ruling is interesting. All you have to do is cascade into the smaller. It's like the old boom bust ruling, I guess.
Oh, nice. You can
except for
the smaller to flip it to the other, essentially?
Except for that instead of it being like boom bust, it has to be one of the flip cards. So if you cast Chartless Agent or Violent Outburst, you can get the Tybalt.
Jesus.
Wow.
The other big reveal today, which was the confirmation that Vorinclex is real. Vorinclex was leaked pretty early on. We didn't really know if it was real, if it was fake. And they waited until, it's my understanding, they waited until like the end of the stream where people were like, well, that's it. And then all of a sudden they were like, oh, by the way, Vorinclex. And not only Vorinclex, but at least 3 different versions, one of them being Phyrexian, similar to the Elish Norn, the very popular Elish Norn. And Twitter just exploded of, I need this. What is he doing here? The card is good. Just a really nice way to cap off the stream.
Yeah, we could actually talk about it now, which is fun. This is a 6 mana, 2 green, 4 generic mana for Vorinclex Monstrous Raider. It is a 6 mana, 6/6 trample haste. A legendary Phyrexian Praetor.
I was just going to say, is this the first creature type Phyrexian?
Yes, ever. I'm so
What is he
pumped.
doing here?
Well, we're going to find out, because if you would put 1 or more counters on a permanent or player, put twice that many of each of those kinds of counters on that permanent or player instead. And if an opponent would put 1 or more counters on a permanent or player, they put half that many of those kinds of counters on that permanent or player instead, rounded down. That's
Kind of
so
reminds me of
just-
Gisela.
It just shuts off sagas. That's hilarious.
Wow. Yeah. Shuts off sagas, ruins their planeswalkers, messes with any +1/+1 counter if there's not a
Lets
whole
you
bunch
double
of
up,
them.
lets you go infinite with your planeswalkers immediately or whatever.
More or less, yeah. I mean, a 6 mana 6/6 haste already, trample haste.
Yeah.
We're already talking.
6/6 trample haste. It didn't need to have anything else,
In
but
green,
it
which
sure
is not hard
does.
to do.
Well, in these days, I'll be honest, I think it does, but what it does is awesome. So I will take it. And that Phyrexian version is just, come on.
Yeah.
Absolutely sweet. Moving on here to gather the townsfolk. There is a Time Spiral coming. Time Spiral Remastered.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, remember that thing? That's coming out. That's going to be a thing. I'm also starting to hear rumbles that it may not be the easiest product to get a hold of.
I believe
because it's a huge
It's kind of a
experiment.
specialty project. Yeah.
Right. This is a giant experiment. This isn't even like an unset, which they don't even like to print those anyway. So like this is a weird, like kind of unset, but not. It's just sort of, it banks on nostalgia, so it has to be for those people who are ready for that type of product. It does have cool reprints, which I'm sure are also expensive, but at the same time, it needs to work sort of as its standalone product. There is no digital element to this that I'm aware of. I think they're doing something for Magic Online because again, they already have the cards. But they are going to show you there's a Lotus Bloom in the old frame, foiled.
Oh, it looks so good.
As the release promo.
Oh, it looks so good.
Is it just foil? Can you get a non-foil?
It's the release promo.
Right,
So
it's the
for
release
the
promo, so
release
it's foil.
event, this is the only version.
Okay,
I don't
it's
know
non-foil.
if they're going to. I don't know what they're doing with the old frames. I've heard a lot of clamoring about we want just regular old frame cards with the new printing process without the foiling.
Yeah, because I play ad nauseum. I'd absolutely pay for 4 of these.
Right. Yeah, it's great. But the release ones are only going to be foil.
Right. I can imagine they're in the set in some fashion, and it's just how you get them from that way.
Right.
Bringing up the slide here so you can see it. Like the old frame foil looks amazing.
It's so good looking.
And it's nice. And Gavin says, 14 years ago, if you visited Daily MTG at midnight on New Year's, you would see the Wrath of God transform into Damnation, the first preview of Planar Chaos. So for Time Spiral Remastered, a set about nostalgia, why not get meta-nostalgic about the original? Happy New Year.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
really
sweet.
excited for. I mean, Time Spiral. I make no mistake that Time Spiral is one of my favorite, just because I was already an old hat, an old man playing Magic by the time the first Time Spiral came out. So I was like, ooh, things I get, like references I understand.
Yeah.
And to see it come back again, to see that they were like, well, perhaps it wasn't a great regular set because it banked so heavily on nostalgia, but to have it as a specialty set, still banking on that nostalgia and not screwing it up, like being like, you know, this isn't like when we went back to Zendikar and it was Eldrazi's. We're going back to Time Spiral and we're giving you Time Spiral.
And it's time. And that was one of the best limited sets or 11 blocks of all time.
So good.
It was fantastic to draft and play, and sealed even was fun for that format. But yeah, the idea that this works, we'll see. Fingers crossed. This is also the type of product, if they underprint it, you buy a box, you throw it in your closet, and before you know it, people are like, man, that Time Spiral
Does this have an Evan Irwin throw it in your closet for 10 years stamp of approval?
Not yet, but I'll be honest. Okay. It's starting to trend. It's starting to trend.
I'll wait for it.
It's early January.
Evan's closet is running out of room.
There's so many secret layers in there. Jesus.
I was just going to say, so many secret layers. Although you have an extra closet because you got to empty
That's
it
true.
now.
Right. You can check that out. You can check that out on the pre-show. The family life of Evan. It's amazing. All right, so we'll move on here to Magic Online announcements, which nothing that I guess I'll argue that interesting sort of showed up, except a whole section here that says all access tokens returning next week.
Yeah.
So is that the thing? Is that the thing where it was like you get the God account?
It's the God account.
Yeah, they did it for Eternal Weekend. They've been offering them for. Yep, I'm sorry, that was just for Eternal Weekend that I know of. Yeah. So and it was really they kind of buried the lead. So they start off with like, you know, Commander Legends is coming. You can see it in Treasure Chest. Okay, great. And then it's like all access tokens. So they tell you that the tokens are coming back, but they don't tell you what for. And they say next week's blog will cover all the details about when and why. And this opened up a lot of doors for people going, okay, are you guys doing this more regularly? Are you doing this for certain events now? Because the last time they did it, it was for a huge event, Eternal freaking Weekend. And so people are like, is this an event of that caliber? Or are you guys just going to try doing it for like any old PTQ? Like, what are we dealing with here?
This is like, you know, I should have made a giant list of like things I wish Wizards would do. And literally over the years, they've done almost all of them I've asked for.
Gen Con too, thank you.
Right, they did the Gen Con thing too. I was like, could you please let us draft, not have to, you know, play the actual draft right now? Stuff like that. Can we please draft against bots and people not lose their freaking minds over it? All of these different things. And one of them was, could we just pay you money and you can just let me play as, you know, constructed Moto as I see fit, and I'll pay you for events and stuff, you know, to play in those events and get prizes and whatnot. But I just want access to the cards. They have all the access to the cards. And like, there's a whole economy around Magic Online, so this is a very sensitive issue. I mean, for God's sakes, one of our sponsors, right, lives, you know, in this world that is, you know, zeros and ones in Magic Online. So the idea they're offering objects, you, right, the idea they're giving you all the zeros and all the ones for a set price, even if for a limited time, is still kind of a shaky scenario.
It is. It's still kind of crazy.
Yeah, like, you know, 15 years ago, it wouldn't have been as bad or as big of a deal because the economy was still growing. There was only so many sets on the thing, blah, blah, blah. But now you've kind of let it fester in many ways. Of like a 20-year-old client with 20 years worth of stuff in it, and it's going to be hard to kind of sort of take all that away and not wreck the economy at the same time. So they gotta travel, you know, carefully.
It seems
here.
like they're dipping their toe, and it didn't fail miserably the first time. In fact, it was a booming success. So they're dipping their toe again. They're you know, acclimating to the water, and they're going to figure out how to do it. I have full confidence that they're going to figure this out.
Well, this is the benefit of Magic Online, is that they have all the cards. So like, this is the best way they could utilize it, I feel, and I've been waiting on
do you remember 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, when the only thing we did on our show was crap on Magic Online?
I didn't. I was
Aaron was the bastion and was how dare you talk to her that way? It's like that meme with Kevin Hart where but now it's like Magic Online can like kind of do no wrong. Like they are just on a win streak. Meanwhile, Arena can't get their crap together to save their lives. And it's like, which one's the online format for the Magic players?
I mean, have you checked out your chipset in your phone? Because you need to.
I don't have an Android.
I don't either.
Yeah. I mean, as somebody who plays older formats, these God accounts have been, no pun intended, a godsend. A huge Eternal Weekend was wild. They had a sold out Legacy event at one point. The Vintage attendance was good. Even now, we have people that are always coming to the Vintage Discord, and if they can just get the cards to play, these formats will continue to be relevant and continue to see play. And so I think it's exciting.
A couple times a year.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it should be a permanent thing. I think that could have, seismic implications. But every once in a while, I like seeing the influx of new players that come in and, who otherwise couldn't afford these formats and are like, I want to play Legacy, I want to play Vintage, and come on down.
And it's super fun. If you never have gotten to play Legacy or Vintage, I assure you, it is a whole different world of Magic you've never even seen. It's wild.
Yeah.
One of the things that's wild, Wizards announced their sort of their OP program for 2021. Make your Magic run in 2021. And I will hand it to them. We have given them lots and lots of crap over how murky and hard it is to understand what the hell's going on in organized play for Arena. However, this is fairly straightforward.
This is super straightforward.
This is ranked play that turns into qualifier weekends, that turns into championships, which later turns into challenger gauntlets, so you can get to the MPL and stuff. That's sort of how you can make your way there. But the idea that you have simple steps to make it to the big tournaments, that's what I appreciate.
No flowcharts? What do you think of the trophies? Easy. I know you've been critical of the trophies.
The Thanos gauntlet?
It's fine. It's okay.
What would it take to make a trophy that Evan Irwin can get?
I want it to be a sword.
I was literally about to say that. Did you see the thing in Japan where they won
baseball?
Japanese baseball, they win a giant
baseball
sword?
League, I think.
Oh my god! Yeah, it was insane. That was insane. A giant sword, that would make me happy.
Hang on your wall. I want to hang. I hang a giant. Well, the Black Lives Matter poster's up there now, but I hang a sword on my wall now anyway.
Yeah.
If I could hang a Magic Championship sword, I would anyway.
I mean, look,
swords.
I grew up on He-Man, all right? And I'm telling you, give somebody sword. You give somebody a He-Man Power Grayskull moment holding the sword up as a champion. That's a sick freaking scene. That's awesome.
Double-sided battle axe for Kaldheim is what
let's do it. Give them weapons. You're making creatures out of them anyway. Let's give them a badass weapon as their trophy. That would be sick.
That's cool.
That would be sick. So I would really appreciate that. But again, if this is what we have, which again, this is a very highly crafted, obviously a very nice trophy, and not something weird and looks like something melted plastic.
Complicated flowcharts this time around. I mean, usually whenever an Arena organized play announcement comes out, you need Bill Nye to explain it to you. This is pretty simple. Yeah,
and it's I appreciate the straightforwardness of, you're going to play these qualifiers. If you play in the qualifier, you get to play in the big show. You play in the big show, you might actually get to be in the big leagues where you can actually get paid from there. And there's lots of details, but this is nice and straightforward, so high five.
Super easy.
All right, cool. So there are two different Desperate Ravens topics that are so ridiculous and silly. I'm not sure which one to go with. But we only really have time for one. So which one is it? The cheating on game nights or the heels in Magic? Both of them seem absolutely absurd to me. I can't.
They're both absurd. So I think that we should talk about the allegations of cheating on game nights.
Did anyone actually see the allegations? I saw this.
No, I saw the reaction to it.
It was that it's like the one sneaky peek, the classic photo or whatever.
Yeah, except for that it was a year ago.
Except it's game nights and they're playing Commander.
It was very stupid. It was very clearly not a fan of the show or something.
Not in good faith, essentially. People coming after MTG
This
Nerd
is why you guys have to, and I say this as someone who's been making content a long time. You have to. Not all feedback is valid, and you have to learn what's worth getting off the couch for and what's not. If somebody had said that to me, I'm not wasting my time on you. This is not worthy of the fury that follows. And that's not to say that her feelings weren't valid or people's feelings weren't valid, but this is not something I would have gotten out of bed for. And so
the reason why I wanted to talk about it is because I think that your takeaway from it is the correct takeaway from it. However, not everyone has as much experience,
of course,
with blocking and cultivating of timeline, and also being a confident figure in the public eye. The quote unquote allegation here is so stupid and outlandish as to be nonsensical And
well, as to come from a bad faith place, they're
And it
trying
comes
to
from-
Exactly.
yes.
they're trying to like sort of make her feel bad and or like expose her. There's some scandal involved. Like no, it's
in your
just some
casual Commander game,
right.
Like,
This you are being absolutely ridiculous. I just the whole absurdity of it. Like I jumped in there to sort of reassure and whatnot. But
course.
but seriously, this whole thing is one of those like when you see someone come at you like this. You go the Aaron way, okay? You block, you move on. You get the block, you move on, all right? You get added to the list. That's what you get done because that's silly and ridiculous.
Yeah.
Something I okay, so we're going to splash damage, all right?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have purchased the 2021 MTG Swimsuit Calendar.
Did you?
I have actually purchased this product.
Okay.
Oh my god.
I kid you
buy
not.
one for Aaron. I was considering
We need
buying
to-
one for
Right,
Aaron.
we need to buy one for all three of us so we can have it in the background every month.
Yep.
This is a project. I want to get it on screen here. This is a project from, I'm guessing, Chapin. This sounds like a Chapin
Yes,
project.
it's a Chapin plan.
This is definitely Chapin
is
all over it. But yeah, this is the idea that for charity, you can buy a sexy is the right word, right? We're going for sexy
sexy's
here.
the right word. We're
Absolutely.
going for sexy.
We're going for a sexy MTG swimsuit calendar where there's Kibler. Remember, he's the same age as me. I just want you to remember that. Raphael Levy, who's like a
want
karate
to-
master.
Kibbles.
I'm not sure you want us to know that.
Right, I know, right? But we're talking Raph Levy, Martin Juza, Gabriel Nassif, Ben Stark, Brian Killer, Eric Froelich. Hello.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
No, that's awesome. I love it.
It's just not a
Utter-
name you would expect.
I was not
to see.
expecting to see this, so that's a good
I
thing.
think this is great.
I'm
You have-
celebrating
I do
over here.
too.
All right,
different-
chill out. All right,
you have
Josh.
different ages. You have
Jo-
different body types. You have the only thing I gotta say though is no read. Like
No read is
No
interesting.
Reed's a little messed up. Sorry, I get the splash.
Yeah, no read, Duke.
Like, come on. This guy is Superman. He's got, like, giant friggin' guns.
He may have said no. He may be too much.
Reed is a wholesome boy.
He is a wholesome boy. To
I
finish
would
the
also
list,
have liked the Boswell.
Right.
PV?
Would have been a nice.
Well-
PV would have been a good one.
Yeah.
Raptors
Shahar.
in there, Josh Sutter-Layton, Jerry Thompson, Andre Strosky, Michael Flores, and Oliver Tomiko. So, that
I think
alone
this
is
is
interesting.
great. I mean, all the
This is
money's
awesome.
going to the Trevor Project, which
Yep.
helps LGBT youth, which is
LGBTQ youth,
great.
right?
And I think this is fabulous. Like, this is great. They're not taking themselves too seriously. Like I said, you have a nice,
love it.
mixture of people who are, some are, conventionally attractive, who you would expect to see in a calendar. Some people you would not expect to see in a calendar. And I think it's great. Whatever you're into,
Yep.
they've got
and it goes and all the
All the
benefit goes
profits.
to charity.
Right.
This is something that we definitely should be supporting.
Yes.
I'm sure the link will be available somewhere,
Oh, yeah,
at
it's
least
in
on
the show
Chapin's
notes.
Twitter account. Oh, it's in
The
show
only
notes, too.
quibble I heard a couple quibbles about this. The first
It's
is
not a
apparently the
kibble quibble, is
Not a
it?
kibble quibble. Hi.
I mean, Kibble's showing us his bits at this point.
Right.
Kibble's in bit. You're welcome.
I got
it.
I've heard the shipping is a bit expensive. Like some people said, the shipping was like half the cost of the calendar or more.
It depends on where you
and
live.
then
It
there were
wasn't that
some
bad
people,
for me, so it's worth it.
right? And then there were some people who felt like they're just it wasn't diverse enough. Like they were like, we don't see enough people of color here,
Sure.
which is valid. But yeah, by all accounts, I mean, this is just one of those things. And it was just like, this can't be real. Oh, it's real.
If this
Okay.
is the trial run for the 2022 calendar that features even more body types, lots of different races, colors, genders, all that good stuff, like, let's do it. Let's just go all in. Let's make it happen.
I mean, yeah.
We might have to make the Magic Mike's 2022.
Yeah, somebody in chat said for Canada, the shipping is twice the price of the calendar.
It's a bit much.
So the shipping's a lot, but by all accounts,
Right, it's based in the U.S.
Yeah.
and whatnot, and I mean, ultimately, I think it's like $10. It cost me like an extra $10 to ship. Yes, that's expensive, but this is all for charity. This is absolutely hilarious to me in many ways. So I'm gonna celebrate in every way I can.
yeah.
If I'm going to be on the, I gotta get rid of the quarantine 15 that I put on.
Right.
remember what I told you about perking your wrestlers.
I know, but I put on a COVID-19 in the last couple months,
It's
and
true.
it's like it's a bit much. So
Do you notice I'm sitting with my arms like this because it pushes?
Because that's right.
I'm not like this. Like if I sat like you in your
We're
chair.
in some life pro tips right now. Let me tell you what. Yeah, you're not flailed out
right,
like a dead fish.
right,
You gotta
like
perk them up.
like a butterfly shrimp.
My God.
See,
All right.
Evan, somebody in chat said if there are two people said they want to see you on the calendar, come on, give the Bears what they want.
Right. Yeah, give them the rare.
Give them the rare.
That is definitely
And
what
look,
you should do.
How many gray hairs can you count on my chest? I don't know how many there are, but I'm sure there will be a few. It's fine. As we turn here to the finisher, as Ruben trolls me so well.
I gave Evan a lot of good words to pronounce this week. It's really great.
We have a lot of great Scandinavian and Viking references already in Kaldheim, from Odin to Loki, from Yggdrasil to Ratatoskr.
Good, you did it.
Did I?
Yeah.
Magic is ready to rock with some Norse nonsense, but there's at least a few more treasures we can pluck from the north. So what else can we look forward to as the rest of Kaldheim comes out in the coming days, Ruben?
2 words. Yakohop's reprint. It's a classic Magic card from MTG's past. It references an Icelandic term for a glacial flood caused by volcanic eruption, which is Scandinavian and metal as hell.
Yeah.
And, of course, I mean, this is absolutely not just because it might make red good, because why would you ever suggest that?
No.
Did you see, Ruben? I played mono red Obosh the other day.
I didn't see that.
Yeah,
That's
I cast lightning bolts and I was getting prowess triggers. You'd have been so
Wow.
proud of me.
Dope.
It's called
Aaron?
growth. Yeah.
Growth.
One Norwegian myth we haven't seen reference is the tale of Sif and her golden hair. Loki, god of fire and mischief, steals Sif's beautiful golden hair while she slept a magical sleep, which enraged her husband Thor, and godly clashing ensued. So I'm hoping for a new instant, wig snatch, because I can't be the only one out here snatching wigs, okay?
Yeah.
Wig snatch.
wig snatch.
Wow. Look, the Vikings believed that the Jormungandr
Good.
was a serpent that encircled the planet, its own tail in its mouth. And a sure sign of Ragnarok would be that that massive snake would release its own tail and thus cause violent unrest, earthquakes, and a whole bunch of other fun end times shenanigans. So really, all I'm asking for is the most legendary, most asked for, most famous snake in all of Magic, a 1/1 Black Death Touch snake token, Wizards.
Come on, Ethan Fleischer, you watch this show.
What are we doing? What are we doing
I
with your life?
see you. I see you in my mentions.
I just love that Evan can't say the pilot, but he can say Yggdrasil.
Yggdrasil?
Jormungandr, gotcha.
Jormungandr,
Jormungandr.
Ratatoskr,
He can't say
Yggdrasil,
Oceans, but
Yokohops.
Gotcha.
You have to
yeah,
pretend that you're a
Salawick is
Jarl.
too much for him, but
Yeah, you just have to pretend that you're a Jarl from Skyrim when you're pronouncing
This
all
is the
these.
vocal box I'm stuck with. Well, that ends another live episode of Magic Mike's. Thanks for joining us here to discuss all things Magic. Thank you, Aaron.
thank you for having me and stay safe, everybody.
Thank you, Ruben.
I look forward to seeing you all in Valhalla.
Valhalla, if you hear me.
That's right. We move here to,
Yeah.
to
That's
our,
the next week's show title.
That's good. You should write that down.
I will.
Move to our final slide. I want to thank our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com, our co-sponsor, CardHoarder.com, my co-host, Aaron Camel and Ruben Bressler. You guys for watching or listening. I hope you support us at Patreon.com/MagicMikes. Please follow, like, tweet,
Try that again. One more time.
share,
Yggdrasil.
shares.
Go back to the top. Back to the top.
Please follow, like, tweet, and subscribe to Everything Social tells people we exist.
What was that?
You're killing me. Please follow, like, tweet, subscribe, do social
You did
stuff
it
that
again!
Wow,
tells
you did do it again. What
I'm
is
trying-
happening?
Subscribe.
Please follow, like, tweet,
Sub-
favorite, share, and subscribe. And do everything social that tells people we exist. Catch us online on our Discord, twitch.tv at Magic Mikes, on Twitter at Magic Mikes Cast, our Magic Mikes subreddit, and like the Magic Mikes page on Facebook. Or join us here next week, same time, same place, for another episode of Magic Mikes. Good night, everybody.